So in this section, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at the different tools that we can use to display our assets and also keep them organized on the platform as well. All right. So we know that our assets include the different content types on the platform: web content, documents and media, message boards, blogs, etc. All right. So let's take a look at what options we have for, again, keeping them organized and displaying them on our pages. Okay, so we're going to start with document storage because document storage is a little bit unique. All right. Like many of the other assets, we do have the ability to provide folders for our documents, obviously keep them organized, similar to what you would do on your own operating system and your own file system. Okay. But documents also give you the ability to create or add repositories as well. Okay. And these repositories can be managed in the documents and media section of site administration. Okay. There are different kinds of documents that we can include as well. So one of the features that we talked about in the previous section was metadata. And not only is there some metadata that we can use in common with the other assets, but there's some special metadata that we can add to documents as well. Okay. We do that through the use of what are called document types. And essentially what document types allow you to do is identify what kind of document we want to add. So for example, this is a PDF, but it's a contract specifically, okay? And then alongside of that, we can go ahead and include some metadata that needs to be filled out by those who are managing our documents, all right? What this allows us to do is to store data in the database corresponding to that particular document and to search and manage based off of that information as well, all right? So this is one of the sort of special features specifically in documents and media. All right, but we also have, like I said, those repositories, and we have document folders as well to keep them organized. All right, so all of this comes out of the box. It makes it easy for you to manage and even display your documents. Now, when you're managing your content, remember that a site itself is a group of content and pages. And what that means is content created in a specific site is scoped to that specific site. Okay, so if I have the Livingston Bali Hotel or Resort and the Livingston Bavarian Hotel or Resort sites, and they're separate, okay, if I create a promotion in the Livingston Bali site, it's not going to be by default accessible to the Livingston Bavarian site, okay? I would actually need to be in the Bali site in order to see that content. Now, of course, there are ways in which you can share resources and things along those lines, but it's important to note the distinction between the two sites when creating content, okay? For those of you who want to create content that is available to all of the sites, we do have a global site, and that is a place where you can create some content and make it globally accessible to all of these sites, okay? Now, along with the site scope itself, once we sort of dig into the individual site, like I mentioned, assets like documents and media, as well as any of the other assets, have folders or at least a folder concept. Okay, so for example, some of the names may differ, like message boards. You have message board categories, and those categories include some of your message board threads. Okay, this is essentially a folder. It groups the threads inside of the category. You can permission it just like you can a folder, and you can manage them similarly to a folder as well. All right, so for web content, documents, and media, you have folders. For message boards, you have things like categories. For wikis, you have things called wiki nodes. Okay, all of these are going to be a similar concept with making sure that you can keep your assets organized. Now, when it comes to display, like I mentioned earlier, each asset has its own corresponding widget. So if we have web content, we have a web content display widget. If we have documents and media, we have a documents and media display widget, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so you can be sure if you're working with those assets, you can go ahead and place them on the page, and there will be corresponding widgets to display that content on the page. Otherwise, there are a number of tools for sort of aggregating the assets and displaying them in a way that is configurable. For example, we have the asset publisher, all right? The asset publisher allows you to choose what you want to display and how you want to display it, okay? There are two modes for the asset publisher, there is the manual and dynamic. Okay, manual allows you to essentially specifically choose which assets you would like to display in a list, and dynamic allows you to actually set up a self-updating feed. Okay, in dynamic, you can choose which assets you want to show up in your feed. You can choose what metadata you might want to require with your assets, and you can actually determine how you want to display it. So for example, you can choose how many you want to display, if there's pagination, if you want to show date information, author information, other metadata, etc. Okay, so I would definitely encourage you to take a look at the asset publisher. It is a very helpful tool for determining how to display your assets on any given site. Okay, so to recap, we have our assets, which are going to be, again, our different content types, and they have some common features as well as some distinguishing features here and tools that are available to us. Okay, so for example, documents and media can take advantage of not only the normal folders that you can with some of the other assets, but also things like repositories and document types. Okay. You can, of course, have folders and subfolders to keep things organized with your different assets. They might have some different names, but the concept will remain. Along with document types, we also have things like web content structures, and these allow you to determine what information needs to show up in your web content. Okay. Each asset has a corresponding widget, and then you have some special tools like the asset publisher that allow you to select what kinds of assets you want to display and how you want to display them. What we're going to do is we are going to create some content for the Livingston Hotels and Resorts. Okay, we'll create some web content, look at some packages available, and then we'll also take a look at fragments as well and how to display fragments on our pages. Liferay is working on giving front-end developers the ability to create their own JavaScript applications using the technologies that they may already be using in some of their other projects. Two of those technologies are going to be Angular and React.js. All right, so let's just take a quick look here at how you can create Angular and React JavaScript modules on the platform. Now, these features are still work in progress in Liferay, so you can think of this more as sort of the bleeding edge of Liferay. You can go ahead and give it a shot and try to create some of your own Angular and React.js modules to deploy on the platform. Now, AngularJS is a powerful development tool that can be used to sort of build those quick and rich, efficient JavaScript applications. And Liferay makes this available to us on the platform. Okay. Now, creating these two types of JavaScript modules is a little bit different. Now, for AngularJS, you can actually add it through the Liferay theme. So what we need to do here is we would need to create a new templates folder in our source, just like we did in our theme, and then add some of the Angular dependencies there. Once deployed, then developers can go ahead and build those JavaScript modules using Angular.js and deploy them into Liferay. All right. Developers can load the node modules for the Angular dependencies by creating a package.json file similar to this in the theme's source folder. Okay. So again, all of these dependencies are included in the theme, and then you can go ahead and create some of those AngularJS applications. You can also create React applications, and these are actually created through the Blade CLI. Okay. In the Blade CLI, we have an npm React portlet template that you can use to generate the project for you and go ahead and create your new module using your React.js skills. Now, to create the npm React widget or application, we can do it using the command line once we have Blade CLI set up. We can run that blade create-t npm React portlet command. What that's going to do is it's going to target that template that I mentioned and create the project for us. Additionally, what we can do is we can go ahead and add the React template to our Maven build and create the project using that as well. So keep in mind, you can go ahead and create Angular and React.js applications in Liferay. AngularJS is going to be a powerful development tool for building those quick, rich, and efficient applications. And using it in Liferay allows us to sort of cover some of those security blind spots that Angular actually has. Liferay takes care of those, so it is secure to build some of these applications in Liferay. Okay? AngularJS can be added as a part of the theme, and once deployed, developers can go ahead and create their AngularJS applications. All right, for React, you can use Maven or Blade to generate the projects for your React application. You can use the basic command to build our React application based off of our npm react portlet template, and then we can go ahead and add our JavaScript files to our package and deploy that as well. Okay. Again, these are work in progress features, so feel free to take a look at that documentation. What we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at deploying a simple React application and take a look at how it actually looks on the platform.